Okay, welcome Lucas Dols, musician and facilitator from the Netherlands, but you're from the globe, I think, in my opinion. So, welcome, Lucas. Thank you for your time, all the way calling in from Lebanon, Beirut. And, just to get started, for the people that don't know you, what are you actually doing? How's music so important for you in your facilitation skills or techniques? What you're doing?
Yeah, I was raised as or educated as a musician for many years. I studied conservatory, a bachelor and a master in Amsterdam, and music was a big part of my life. And I actually kind of forgot my old dreams I had when I was young, and I after 10 years being a professional musician, I thought this is going to be my path. And my old dreams, I left them behind and will never come back. And actually, I found out through multiple paths, doing another study at knowmad business school, and some other uh, like experiments I did with projects, that I can use music in a different context. And this was a very powerful thing, because I thought that I was kind of doomed to be a musician the rest of my life, and I wasn't happy with that idea, and I wanted to change something. So I was really thinking about giving up music and doing another study, and really trying to do different things and being a volunteer for Amnesty International and that kind of things. And then I found out, hey, maybe I can use music in a different context. And that's what I try to do since 6 years now. And right now I'm, for example, in Beirut, and I really found a way to use music in a different context. Um, and why it's so important is that for me, music is so much more than only playing a song or listening to lyrics. Of course, it's about working together, and it's about rhythm and melodies, but music is also about leadership and also about cooperation and listening to each other and being clear in what you want, and sharing your needs, and making space for people, but also taking space if there's uh, if you see a gap. So
Right.
there's so many more elements in music than most people think,
Mm-hmm.
especially when you improvise together, for example.
Yeah, beautiful improvisation. So when you get in a flow status and all that. And just for the listeners, so what music instrument do you play mostly? Like, what is your core instrument?
I studied double bass and electric bass, and yes, that's my
Okay.
main instrument. And a year ago, I bought a cello. I
Mm-hmm.
never. It was a kind of dream that oh man, cello is actually so much nicer than a double bass. And then I thought, no, but then I have to study it at the conservatory again. But last year, I just bought a cello and started playing, and actually, I did already 3 performances with cello. So
Oh, wow.
I'm without a teacher, so I just learn myself. And I really believe that if you really want to learn something, there's so many ways. And
Yeah, yeah.
I give this many times as an example, that if you really want to do something, you just try to do it, and make it your own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, having said that, do you also sometimes see that education, the system we are in, can be like a boundary or a block for fulfilling your dreams?
Uh, yes. I really, for example, 10 years ago, when I wanted to expand my knowledge, and I wanted to learn about other things, I thought, oh yeah, I'm gonna buy a book about psychology. I'm gonna buy a book about this. I'm gonna buy a book about that. And the only thing I could imagine is about learning something new was to buy a book and,
Mm-hmm.
and to read about it. And it's, it, and then I found out a few years ago, when I was doing some another study at Nomads Business School, I found out, no, I'm an experienced person. I need to experience something before I learn it. And
Exactly.
some people learn it by reading. Some people learn it by experience, or
Mm-hmm.
and I'm a more experienced person, and I still read books and learn a lot from books, but it's not the only way.
Yeah.
And uh, yes, in that sense, I think education can block opening your potential. Especially, a lot of people see music education, for example, as a way that you have to follow classes and you have to read music from paper and you have
Yeah.
to be very technical before you can play music. And I really don't believe that. I always start with improvising, and then I start to make music. So last year I was asked to teach 2 students at the conservatory in Amsterdam, double bass, and I told the main department of the conservatory, like, I'm gonna do it different than you're used to, and they were very open to see my approach, and that's why I tried for a year. And what I did is, there were students. One of them was very new to double bass, and one of them was a classical student. He had already 10 years classes. What I did was every hour we started for half an hour improvisation without judgment. So
Nice.
we just we get it in the flow. The only thing that I want them to do is to get both of us in the flow of improvising, and
To
after
create
half an
a
hour,
safe space also, right?
yes, and also that to get used to the idea of not judging about what we do. So after half an hour, they look at me. Okay, what do you think about that? And I said, okay, I'm not gonna say anything. Now we're gonna do the rest of the day or the rest of the class. And for me, that's so important to first start improvising and getting used to the instrument and getting used to each other before you go to the next level. For me, it doesn't make sense to learn skills on a violin or a piano before you know why you need that. The thing is, if you improvise and if you make music, then the questions about what you want to learn more, they will appear by themselves.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's really demand based, and then you have the students like, wanting to and being eager to learn more and to become better at it. And also, if you just mentioned really interesting about your 20 or 30 minutes improvisation, do you think it also has something to do with connecting with yourself and the environment before you can leverage that? So, for example, when I enter a new space or a new group of people, or even if I see you and we haven't seen each other for a while, I first need to connect with you and with myself. And if I'm not connected with myself, then I'm gonna talk from my head, and it's not gonna be a very interesting conversation. It's gonna be pretty rational. What do you do and how are you? But if you feel really connected with yourself in a positive sense, like I'm in a flow and I feel nice about what I do, or I'm happy, then you can connect with the other person in a more synchronic way, or you get synergy more easy than when I'm in my box.
Yes, for sure. I see improvisation mostly as a kind of meditation in a way. And if you make music and you improvise, I have it mainly with improvisation, not so much with pop music. But if I improvise together with other people, I can get rid of time. For example, I lose time. I have no and I'm really open to the ideas of others. So I'm super flexible, and especially in a group, because that's very interesting. I had this experience in December. I went to India, and there's a lot of meditation going on in the place where I went there in Bodh Gaya, and I was working there for 2.5 months. And for me, I practice some meditation, but not so much. Every now and then. But like I said, I see improvisation as meditation in a way. But in a group. And what happened in India is that my plan was to meditate every morning, and like a lot of people do there. And I was there for 2.5 months, and I actually didn't do it so much. And then I went to a meditation session with a group of people. There was a big group, and then I felt, wow, if I'm in a group, it's so much easier for me to
meditate.
But also to focus on myself, and to focus somehow to feel the others. And that's how I see musical improvisation with a group. That that you kind of meditate together.
That's such a beautiful way to put it. I'm also searching for words like that. If I work, with Hosted Transform and try to explain people like we will become more conscious about ourselves, but we will not get stuck in our inner introspection and observe thoughts, and which is all great. I'm not judging that, but the extra layer is that you, because of that status, you also connect with others, and you need other people to make things more valuable, and to, I don't know, skill things if you talk business terms, but also to co-create and to become more innovative. So sometimes I feel that also now in the West we're so focused on meditation, yoga, and then we all, sometimes they literally say, go into yourself and feel yourself, and which is all great. But then you go to the outside world. I actually had it in India after a yoga session. I went outside and I almost got hit by a rickshaw and people were screaming. I'm like, okay, now I'm back into reality. So what was it, just about those 40 minutes, or can we actually integrate this in our daily practices? So
Yeah, I like that you this example, and I see also meditation as an active process and not something. I see it as the position between relaxing and taking action. So it's in between, and you can decide from that moment to act or to relax.
yeah.
But it's not a relaxed position, so it's something active. And that's the same with music. If you're in this middle part, you can listen to others and just listen, and you go to this relaxation, or you can stay in this part and act to initiate, but also to follow somebody else.
Yeah.
That's for me. That's the most important position, to be in that middle thing.
Yeah. So you can choose. Yeah. So
Yes,
not getting
always have a choice.
yeah. So not getting attached to something, but also not feeling like you're neglecting it. Oh, I'm not part of that. Yeah. Yeah, I can actually totally sense it when I feel that I'm distancing myself from something. I hardly take anything from it. And if you really start jumping on it because you feel that you have really something to say or the truth or something, then you also kind of miss the others because people will feel like, whoa, okay, I'm not part of this. Yeah, so it's also all about energy in a sense, right? Just feeling it where you at. You can totally sense it if you're conscious about what you feel, I think. Have you been in a position maybe when you got started teaching, well, maybe bass, or now what you're doing? You're actually at the moment in Beirut training musicians to train other people again, or to teach other people.
I train a group of Syrian refugees. That they are musicians themselves, and they came from mostly from Damascus and Aleppo, and they're stuck in Beirut, and they decided, okay, we can be here. Officially, they can't work because Lebanon is blocking all the Syrian refugees from working, which I think is totally fucked up, because then you have a lot of people that or do illegal work or they can't work, and you make their life impossible.
Miserable, yeah.
But anyway,
taking away their identity, right? I mean, they have nothing to resonate with. Maybe something they can do, and now it's also taking away from them. Like, okay.
So they decided, we're here, we're musicians. We would like to give music classes to the children in Shatila, which is one of the big camps here in close to Beirut. And yes, I'm supporting them in giving workshops, because they have the music skills, but they don't know how to build a workshop and how to facilitate a group and how to make your own exercises, and how to use theater and music and dance and everything as a package, not only music. And yes, that's actually mainly what I do. And in that sense, they can work for NGOs that are in the camp, and they can still earn a little bit of money with that. So it's empowering people to use their skills in a different way, and to help children at the same time.
Wow, that's beautiful. So economical wise, but also the social empowerment part, that they feel util, they can make a difference. yeah, I still believe when you see you're capable of empowering others, then you really grow, like in all kind of dimensions. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you were asking a question about, did you ever have a moment?
Yeah, and maybe you had one today because we spoke with each other before I turned on the record. So when you feel you kind of maybe losing connectivity, I mean, you cannot control everything. Sometimes it just happens, right? There's many reasons and variables there where people might not be into it or something like that. So did you ever experience it maybe today or in your previous career? And do you have some clues for yourself what you can do about it when you feel you're kind of losing the group or losing some people, their
Yeah.
attention or their intrinsic motivation?
Yeah, it's interesting. I had actually yesterday and today. I work a lot with nonviolent communication. As
Mm-hmm.
I followed 4 or 5 courses in nonviolent communication, and for me, that's a tool about being very honest and about connecting to your feelings and needs, and to share that, and to share, and to be able to listen to the others' feelings and needs, and
Mm-hmm.
to build a dialogue system based on that. And I think it's very important for teachers or for social workers or actually anybody who has a relationship with other people to be able to communicate in a way that's really authentic.
Mm-hmm.
That's really talking from the I and talking from my own feeling and my own need instead of attacking people by just
Generalizing it, yeah.
generalizing and interpreting what you see or hear.
Yeah.
And that's what I do this, and I try to do it also with children and also with the trainers I work with, for example, now in Beirut. And now I'm here for the second time. So we had 2 weeks, 3 months ago, we had 2 weeks of training, and now come back and we work again on nonviolent communication. And then I feel the energy that people are tired after lunch, for example, and I really see that actually they want to go home. And
Mm-hmm.
I ask them, and then they say, no, we are super happy and we want to stay and whatever you want. And I said, no, I think you want to go home. Yeah. And then I have to ask 5 times, and then they suddenly say, yeah, we're tired. Can we go home? and and then I know it's partly it's the Arabic culture that they're not so they're kind of afraid to say no.
Mm-hmm.
You have to ask multiple times. But I'm also a little bit sad at the same time that I still don't have the relationship with them that they can be really honest or
Mm-hmm.
authentic.
Yeah, I like that.
And that's that's what hurts me sometimes, that I try to really open up and to accept everything and be flexible. I'm never picky or demanding,
Mm-hmm.
and I still
Yeah.
yeah. So
But
that's
that's
why
also, yeah, that's also a part of the facilitation thing, right? Never take it personally, in that
exactly.
sense. Yeah. And
But I
yeah.
think it's a good example because this
Yeah.
is what I see, and still I also teach in Holland a lot in primary schools and high schools everywhere, and it's the same. People
Mm-hmm.
really think that I'm the same as all the other teachers, and that I'll send them out of the room if they do something wrong, and that's not the case. I just want to create something positive and to accept everything that happens in the group,
Yeah.
even though people are hitting each other. It's something that happens, and we have to solve it in the group.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
So sometimes I lose them,
Yeah.
and then I'm sad about, oh shit, and I really did something wrong, or
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't clear enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm always judging myself
Yeah.
when things like that happen.
Yeah, and did you? I mean, I don't want to get into solution things, but I'm a facilitator myself, so I cannot help myself for asking. Did you try to invite them to think of a solution, like
Yeah,
what would be the next best step, or did you try like music and dance so they get energized?
for sure.
Yeah,
Um,
so they were really
and
off.
the thing is, it's also part of the learning process. Is that actually what I'm doing? I want them to do the same with children.
Yeah,
So if they see a child that's super tired, they also have to make a decision together with the child. Okay,
yeah,
maybe we should quit. So actually, what I say is, okay, you guys make a decision. I'm
Yeah.
okay with everything, but you have to make a decision.
Yeah.
And I also explained, yes, sometimes you can use the energizer to do it, but then just take the initiative to do it yourself.
Yeah.
You can do it.
Yeah.
So you know how to do it. Take the initiative. I'm fine.
Yeah. Ah, that's
So
beautiful.
it's
Yeah.
giving them the responsibility. And yes, I always use energizers when the
Mhm.
energy is low, and I'm very sensitive for energy.
Mm.
So that's yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm also getting insecure because I also at the same time I feel energy. I'm also getting insecure. Maybe they don't like it. Maybe they have other plans. Maybe
Yeah.
no. So,
Yeah, and also the fact, they're traumatized. So maybe they're suddenly back in their memory with their families, or
yeah.
it's we cannot jump in their shoes. It's so intense what they're going through. So yeah.
Yes.
Mm, okay.
And then I want them to be honest, and then I would really love them to be that they feel safe enough to share what they really want to share at that moment.
Yeah.
Because I think talking is the one of the important things with working with trauma is that you yeah
Yeah.
if you
Yes
start
and no,
talking
movement too, but yeah,
uh,
of course you have to
I'm
elaborate.
saying one of
Yeah.
the things.
Yeah.
It's also the reason why I give music classes
Mm-hmm.
with traumatized children is that it can be a different way of opening up and communicating
Yeah.
if you can't use the words. So
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's one, and of course music. That's why I'm giving the music classes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I heard you. I was just thinking out loud because you also have yoga therapy nowadays for people really to get into their bodies in a different way in order to digest stuff they didn't even knew that that was stopping them from things, or not getting into the process of recovering. Um, and yeah, I was just thinking, like, maybe it could also be, that they just don't know, that they're kind of in
Yes.
that space, like, yeah, we could continue, we could not continue. I'm blank,
True.
Yeah, yeah.
But this is the whole thing is that I'm trying to explain them a different way of education,
Mhm.
and I'm teaching by example, and
Mhm.
I'm showing them maybe when you went to high school or primary school, you had such a situation that the teacher was only,
Mhm. Yeah, top down.
and I'm trying to show them something different, and then it means also taking the responsibility
Yeah.
as a participant, or in the case of a class
Yeah.
that you take responsibility as a child.
Mhm.
So if I'm opening up the chances, the possibilities within the classroom, the children should take the responsibility to act.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. So what do you do if you have really introvert people?
Music or dance or theater. So it helps a lot.
Yeah.
For people that are afraid to open up, to do a lot of different exercises. I started doing the music, theater improvisation exercises
Mhm.
the past months, and it actually is amazing because
Yeah.
um, music sometimes is easy because you can play rhythm and you can play a melody that you know, or you can create something together.
Mhm.
And with theater, it's even getting more out of your comfort zone, and I really love that
Yeah.
thing. And for me, teaching, for example, for a class with children is a kind of acting. Is really being creative and showing different perspectives, but also yeah, it's acting.
Yeah.
It's using the intonation of the voice. It's movement. It's how you interact all the time,
Yeah.
and about improvisation the whole time. If somebody doesn't understand what you're saying, try a different way. Try a different
Mhm.
way all the time,
Yeah. Yeah.
or try to explain it with showing it or experiencing it, feeling it.
Yeah, use some humor. That also often helps. Don't take yourself so seriously, and then you break the ice. Then the participant thinks,
Yeah.
"Oh, she's not the queen." Then we can also just be part of that.
Yes. So that's the thing is that, for example, with musicians, what happens a lot. I worked a lot on conservatories with classical musicians, and then what I mainly do is improvisation. So they are not so used to improvisation and theater. So
Mhm.
to really let already doing something, let them do the opposite. Or actors, let them make music. So it's pushing each other out of your comfort zone, and then a lot of magic can happen.
Yeah. You get a different
Like
level of understanding too, and engagement. Yeah,
yeah,
that's amazing. So what I just heard, you also mentioning that in order to be able to really improvise and be util in the moment, you have to be very present, right? If you think
yeah.
about what you have to buy for dinner, then you're off and you're not there. So, is there anything that helps you with that to be very present? Is there something, or is it just arising because you love so much what you do and then you do not really have to think about it so much?
That's a good question. Normally, yeah, this is a good question. I have several things.
Mm-hmm.
What I do to focus is what I always do with workshops is I bring stuff from my home, so I feel comfortable. It's always a different room. I bring stones and I bring incense and I create a circle that feels comfortable for me. So I always prepare the room before I start, like half
Mm-hmm.
an hour.
Nice.
Um, yeah, I might meditate for a minute or 2 minutes just in the circle. Sometimes I do running in the morning if I have time, if it's not too early. It helps me to focus a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But mostly really preparing the space is my main thing.
Yeah.
It's really funny. I was giving a workshop in a conservatory in Zwolle in November, and I burned incense in the room, and everybody was looking at me. What the fuck are you doing? There was 80 students in a room with all the teachers, and I was walking around with incense, and nobody ever did it in this room. It's kind of fun, but it really helps me, and they really understand after explanation why I did it, and it's
Mm-hmm.
also part of the. Like I said, I'm teaching by example also that
Yeah.
I really see that it helps other people too.
Yeah.
And yeah, what other things I do for focus?
I often bring my own music, but yeah, I don't have an instrument,
Yeah,
so just a little jingle or yeah, it makes me feel comfortable.
yeah, and for example, put your phone off. It's like
Yep.
a super simple thing, but as long as I know it's on, it's in my head, and
Yeah.
I want to actually get rid of all the things in my head.
Yeah. And how do
And
you make sure you're not over preparing? Like I'm teaching people now to apply the host method to generate human energy, openness for people to connect, likability, and then sharing resources to feel the openness to get this self-learning environment. And it works pretty great. But I see when people start over preparing, then they talk from their heads only. Um, and they overdo the reflection bit. They get like they're putting all the seeds there, and some seeds are grasped by the participants, but some are not, and that's fine. But they're like, oh, but this is another seed, let's analyze that. And then you see the energy,
yeah,
zhoof. What's I mean, often when you start, that's often what happens, right? You're like, oh, there's so many interesting things. I want to reflect on everything. And then you go too far. And then you're talking, yeah, it's ego or whatever you want to call it. Then you just talk for yourself.
yeah.
Is there something do you kind of know when you're in this position, when you go too far? Or do you have some tips for that, people?
I'm always afraid to talk too much.
Uh-huh.
And I'm also afraid that my participants talk too much. Because, yeah, serious, because I have a tendency to, indeed, what you say, to explain all the things that are behind the exercise.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as I start doing it, I also see participants doing the same. That there's a meaning for this, and there's a meaning for that. um,
Yeah.
I was working with 17 psychologists in Kiev 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And they did exactly like that. From the beginning on,
Thinking, yeah.
They were observing me, and I got crazy because they found everything. There was a meaning behind everything, but they didn't answer the question. So I was asking a question, and they were only thinking why I was asking the question, and that made it super difficult. You know what I'm? Yeah. So yeah.
Psychologists, yeah, the tendency to, yeah, how to get them out of their heads. I have it often
Yeah,
when I train with scientists. I mean, they're also, I mean, they analyze everything, you know, and for them it's already groundbreaking news if they can relate to their senses, and this can also be true. It's not only, you know,
exactly.
something you read. Yeah, yeah. So
But
what did you do to get them out of their heads, more or less? Was there some breaking points? Like, was there something you could do?
less talking. So
Mm-hmm.
I really cut it on the talking part,
Mm-hmm.
and I decided to do more exercises. And yeah, I always do like I give them exercise like assignment, and the assignment there was to build a workshop, to make your own workshop and to really teach it to children.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a really heavy thing because they expected that I would teach and that they would observe me. And I said, no, we're gonna do the other way around. You're gonna teach. I'm gonna observe you for this time. And that worked very fine because all the people, they suddenly have to make the connection with the children because otherwise it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So you have a group of children in front of you, and then you have to act, and that was the best thing. So you make the combination of
Yeah.
in your head. So we did exercises with the group with only the trainees. Then we analyzed the exercises, but they also have to do like the
Applying it.
applying it. Yes,
Yeah.
to
But that's
learning by doing.
beautiful, Lucas, because then the children are not the aim anymore. It's kind of a
Yeah,
mean to get to the whole teaching bit, to get the didactic skills, right? And I see it too when I do the same with students now. Actually, I the final session, I always say, "Okay, you will do it," and I send them some videos on
yeah,
forehand, and they're not so afraid anymore, you know, to be in front of their own pupils. No, they think about, am I doing it okay? You know, am I doing the exercise fine? And meanwhile, they're way out of their comfort zone. So it's
yeah,
really cool when they get this extra mission. I had it also with another practitioner. He is hosting dialogue sessions, co-creation sessions in a very complex environment with people from the technic environment and the citizens of an area, of a neighborhood. They also have a stake in it, and then entrepreneurs, so people from all around the world, from all around the cutting edge
mm,
circles and areas. But the way they apply these co-creation sessions are very mentally focused, you know, like it's almost like,
yeah,
okay, and now we co-create. And of course, this is not how it's literally written like that. You know, step 4, we start co-creating. I'm like, oh gosh. So I had to send him back like a new script, and also in jargon, I changed wordings. Like there were things like, we take, what risk will you take, or what is the problem? You know, all this jargon. I'm like, oh, if I hear these words, I'm already, you know, low of energy, not wanting to be part of that,
zooming out.
zooming out. So I was adding the jargon, and I gave him some improv exercises, host and transform exercises as well, and he merged it in. But it was like 3 hours before he would, you know, apply or give this dialogue session. So I had really no time to prepare. And because of that, that he had no time to overthink things, and he had to just do it and think of his own mission because he's in training with me. So I said, forget about the context. Think about that you want to learn about, you know, facilitating that space. And because he had that mission and not so much pleasing the people, or in a sense, it totally worked. You know, he was really in his space, and he was really present, and he could just shift gears because a lot of things changed around the day. He had less time, different people, different table, but he didn't get disrupted by that.
Yeah,
So I think that's a beautiful way to this double loop learning, in a sense, to make your participants the teacher, or the however you want to call it. Yeah,
always, yeah.
facilitator.
And that's what I also do with children, for example. Then we do an exercise, and I ask them, okay, now you lead the exercise, or now you do something else, and it works a lot also with small children. For example, I do a lot of it conducting. So we have instruments, and then I'm conducting the orchestra.
Mm-hmm.
with improvisation. So I have like a hand sign language,
Nice.
and it's like very simple, like start and stop and melody, and like
I love
very
that
simple.
exercise.
It's really cool. And but then what happens is that I teach it to everybody. Everybody can do it, and then I ask one of the musicians, "Okay, now you're the leader, and now you can be here." And it's an amazing leadership exercise because it's about working together.
Yeah.
As a conductor, you can't ask people to do very difficult things if they don't willing to do it or they can't do it, they won't do it.
Yeah.
So you have to be you're the leader, but you can't ask things that people won't do. So it's super interesting reflection. Actually, which I mostly I won't do the reflection. I just let people experience, and that's it. The reflection they will have themselves afterwards. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
And also children, they really feel, wow, it's so cool. I do this, and my friend is starting to play music. Wow.
Wow,
Such a
magic.
great thing.
Powerful it feels, huh?
And I don't use the words leadership and collaborative leadership. No, it's not. It's just making music with
Yeah, it's
somebody in front of you.
it's very subtle.
It's more the feeling. As soon as you start to use words about this is the cluster and that's and no,
Periphery, yeah.
you lose the power. It's just doing, and everybody is doing it the whole day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Walking on the street,
Yeah, beautiful.
yeah.
I want to say something I forgot. Anyhow, I was wondering because I get a lot of I coach people that start their businesses in this area of facilitation skills, and I teach them about host to transform, but of course they can translate it to their own work practice, etc. If people are not sure yet if this is what they really want to do, what we are doing, I will just generalize it a bit. How could they discover that? Like, how can they know that this is part of their purpose? The kind of this cutting edge of using music, theater, dance, but meanwhile created for leadership aims or creating a safe space for people to connect with themselves, to get innovation process going. What kind of, maybe that's a better question, what kind of person do you need to be to be in this space and to really feel like, wow, this is addictive. I have to do something with this. If I get paid for it or not, this is my purpose.
Yeah. My first thing is that I think everybody who's working with other people can get his inspiration from this. You don't have to use all the elements, or you don't. There's so many elements to this and so many parts. I think everybody who's working with other people can be interested in this.
Yeah.
You can use it everywhere. You can use it with a family meeting. You can use it in your relationship. You can use it with children, with your own children. It's not so different. If you have a family party and you're organizing a little game in a circle with Christmas, I don't know what you do, what people do. Facilitating that is the same as facilitating a conversation in a company. I don't see the difference.
Yeah.
And everybody knows, everybody went on summer school camp and just having holidays with friends, with also children, and everybody's facilitating things, and you don't know that you're aware. People are not so aware of that they're already facilitating.
Yeah. Yeah, that just makes me think like I have another assignment now for GGZ, which is the Institute for Mental Care nationally, and they want to get all the different parties together, like the insurance companies and the branch organizations, etc. And they're all kind of having their own stake. And sometimes for people it's impossible to work to imagine even to co-create together. So in these kind of very, how do you say it, tense environments, and where's maybe some ego or fear or judgment, and also people that are policy makers, they sit on a chair all day. Okay, I'm over-exaggerating now, but this is really far off their beds, off the hook. So I would love for them, some innovators in that group to learn about what we do. So next time I can coach from a distance and I don't have to do it myself to execute it.
Yeah.
So, have you ever been in this environment? I mean, most probably classical orchestras, people that maybe also a little bit more, well, stiff or analytic or behave preserved.
Yeah. I worked. I mentioned it 2 times before. I did study with Nomads Business School,
Mm-hmm.
and actually that's also pretty much about facilitation and yeah, working with groups and
Yeah.
in the area of sustainability and
I had a podcast with Jake too, so I can send it.
Okay, yeah. So I had one project with the Dutch police force. Now I think it's a good example.
Yeah.
And the only thing I didn't use music, but I was facilitating a few conversations with a group of policemen, and the policemen they already decided to be part of a team that will transform this police force. They were asked, they could sign up to be part of this team, and then they create new ideas how to transform.
So they were the front runners, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But still, they were. I wouldn't say use the word stiff, but they had a certain way of communicating and dealing with things and thinking and not really feeling persons.
Reacting all the time, like primary.
So, yes, I had experience, with different groups, and also groups of teachers, for example. If you're come to a regular high school, I think 50% of the teachers are older people that are already doing the same thing for 25 years.
Yeah.
Yes, maybe that's the most difficult group of people is teachers. Because they know how to do it, because they found out one time 25 years ago, and why would they change it?
Yeah. So what do you do then? I mean, you already mentioned in the case of the police force, you were not going too extreme with music and all that. So
No, it was not. The thing is that I don't really prepare. Sometimes I bring instruments and I don't use them, and sometimes I'm trying to play music and I turn it around, or sometimes I come in and I think we're gonna do a dialogue, and then in the end we all make music. It's
yeah, it's really what.
So it's not that I think it's a different way. It depends on the question they have. And if the question is that there's a conflict, or people are they have to listen to each other, or that maybe the manager complains that people are not cooperative, or maybe they want to be part of the company where they're in, and they don't feel part of it. So it depends on the question.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, and I often think because somebody told me, "Hey, you're working with non-violence communication," and I never had any course in that. So I think it's also really listening to your intrinsic feelings and what is needed, and how are people wired. I often talk about the third space you create together, which is not there if you're not there, and if you're alone it's not there, but you can create between people, and then you can see what the mechanism is. And of course words, language does have influence on that, but also non-verbal expressions. So I think in the end, maybe that's a good wrap up. I don't know what your kind of conclusion is about the human species, but I think if we connect with ourselves, if we feel safe in an environment or with ourselves, then we're open for the uncertain. Then we're kind of, okay, I don't have a clue, but I'm okay, so I can handle that.
Yeah. I think it's super strong to be ready for the unknown. It's very, very interesting. You mentioned it, and I didn't answer the question. I think about over preparing also for workshops, and that's something I stopped doing the last few workshops I gave. Is actually I didn't prepare anymore, and I was asked to do 2 days workshop on special needs education with 20 children, and the ages were between 6 and 14, so it's pretty big difference between the ages. And I was asked to do 2 days program, and I found out the day before that it was actually a 5 hour program every day with one group of 20. And it's impossible for me to have a 5 hour program. And what I decided, I was thinking, I stressed out totally, like, whoa, what the fuck? I'm doing a 5 hour program for 2 days. How can I do this? And then I was thinking, and for 2 hours, how can I do this? And then I realized I don't prepare. So I put my car full of instruments and things, and I just went there and I didn't prepare anything. And I just improvised. And what happened is that I went with the flow of all the children, and they said something, and I reacted, and then it reminded me of a story, and then we went this, and we had that exercise. And in the end, we had a great performance the second day, which is beautiful. But
Nice.
for me, that's being ready for the unknown, is to stop worrying about.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're able of doing so many things, and we can trust it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
and so to create a situation with people that they trust you
Hmm.
to be
Yeah.
to be yourself, and that you trust yourself to be yourself. I
Yeah.
think it's beautiful, and I think that's a skill that can help us to be ready for the future.
Yeah. Yeah. So like this whole facilitation thing is also like a metaphor in that sense, and
Yeah.
an experience, even though you never want to do anything with it. Because I'm actually training someone that's kind of, yeah, Jess. That's why I posed the question. Jess, I'm not sure if I want to go in there. I want to
Mm.
be a facilitator. I'm introvert, and I also saw I'm a little bit struggling. So maybe it's not his, you know. And I said, okay, but then it's just part of the, you know, the whole sentiment of things being uncertain and people reacting to you. You can also translate that to your work practice again. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it depends on what your definition of facilitation is. Maybe your website is also facilitation. Facilitation can be on so many different levels.
yeah,
And what we're talking about is facilitation is to work with groups of people, but
yeah,
it can be on so many different levels, and you can use parts of it, and you can
yeah.
use. I know, for example, art of hosting pretty well. All
Mm-hmm.
the facilitation skills there.
Yeah,
But there's many things I don't use, and there's a few parts I use in different contexts where you don't recognize it anymore.
yeah, yeah,
And I also
yeah.
hear stories from people that actually are using art of hosting principles in schools or companies without naming it,
Mm-hmm.
and they already do it for 20 years, but they just name it different.
Yeah, exactly.
And
It's
then if you would tell them, yeah, you're a facilitator because you host this, wow,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. It's again about framing and
it's not straight. Yeah.
what do you want to do with it? What is your achievement? Well, for me personally, my personal goal is to make it a very low threshold and accessible for as many people as possible, anywhere, anytime. So that's why I launched this online platform now. So you don't, yeah, you can literally just be with Wi-Fi and iPhone and you can go. Yeah, yeah,
Exactly, yeah.
yeah. Okay,
And,
cool.
and the things are not so difficult as we think. It's about the framing. We might frame it's very spiritual and difficult, but maybe it's not like that. Maybe
Yeah,
it's just like you did your summer camp when you were young.
yeah, exactly.
Maybe it's
Yeah, just having fun and a good time, and then people will get into that flow too. They want to be there too with you.
yeah.
Okay. Okay, great. Lucas, thank you so much for this. Well, it's not an interview. I think it's a dialogue about improvisation skills, how you use it in terms of theater, music, in different contexts, and also for social empowerment in Lebanon, in Beirut. Is there anything you would love to share with people, or a little call to action, or where they can see you as a famous musician in Paradiso,
Call
or
to
where is it?
action.
Whatever you,
Um,
or to yourself, or
yeah. Uh, there's a lot of things. I'm really happy. I made this choice in this direction to be. It was my dream when I was 12 to work for Doctors Without Borders, and now what I'm doing is actually kind of the same work, but then from a musician point of view. And I made for example one movie now, so I'm starting to make my own promotional movies because sometimes it's very difficult to explain what I do. I
mm-hmm.
train people, and then and they give workshops. So I don't work with the children here in Beirut, but I train people that work with the children.
Yeah.
So for me, it's the framing, talking about it like we're doing now. It really helps me to make my next step, and it's really great. And I see a lot of people around me that are doing amazing stuff. This summer, when I come back next week, we have a performance with Marlijn Twaalfhoven. I play in an opera with Marlijn Twaalfhoven, and he made an opera about Syria, and it's called A Postcard from Aleppo. And he asked people from Aleppo to send postcards to Holland, and he used the words on the postcard, the sentences, the stories, as input for the opera. And we perform it next week in Schravenland. It's close to Hilversum in Holland. But we will perform also on the Grachten Festival and some other festivals. So if you're interested in seeing things about how to combine social change with art, and see things, you can watch my movie on YouTube, for example. About it's called the Beirut Music Workshop Leaders Program. Find it on YouTube or my website, lucasdols.nl. But also this opera from Marlijn Twaalfhoven is a good example of how you can combine things, and we also perform with half of the crew is Syrian people.
Beautiful. Nice. Wow, yeah, I might be part of. I mean, not part. I might see that. Yeah, that would be great. Yeah.
For me, that's great because I decided to be a musician and a workshop leader and to work in these countries like Lebanon. But the music things I do, I only want to do things that have meaning. And this opera is a great example of things that have meaning for me.
Yeah.
And it's a story that needs to be told.
Beautiful. Well, I will keep you in mind, if that's okay, when I will approach the asylum seeker centers in the Netherlands, where I work with. I will co-create something with. So who knows? We can connect the dots together. It would be great. So thank you so much for your time, and all the best in Lebanon, Beirut. You're doing great work. You're inspiration for, I already heard your name by some of my participants even. So you're inspiring people. And let's keep up empowering ourselves and others because of that.